Hello, my name is Julie Muhn, Senior Research Analyst with Finovate. We are here at Finovate Europe 2026 in London. Today I'm joined by Wincie Wong, co-founder of Tech Sha Can, and we're going to be talking about educating and training the workforce in the face of AI. As we know, there are a lot of changes coming about. So Wincie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so at Tech Sha Can, you spend a lot of time thinking about the future workforce. When you look ahead about 5 to 10 years, what do you think is most broken today in how we prepare our youth for jobs that don't quite exist yet?
I think it's a common thing to say that, well, babies being born now, we don't know what jobs they're going to be doing in the future. Well, I can definitely say my last 10 jobs didn't exist before I even did them. So I think the pace of change has accelerated. It's gone really fast. One of the big things that we noted when we founded Tech Sha Can was that teachers, schools, people who work there who are educating young people don't work in tech, they're educators. And therefore, with it moving so quickly, they just don't know what's happening out in the real world as things are moving. What we recognized when we formed the charity was that industry needed to be an integral part of young people education to close that gap. Otherwise, we won't have people learning about what opportunities are out there. One of the things we noticed is that there are classic archetypes of the fireman, the policeman, the nurse, the doctor, that teachers are very comfortable talking about. But when we spoke to so many of the teachers, they said, I'd love to talk about tech, but I know nothing about it. It's moving so fast. Is it more than just an iPad that I'm using in class, or a lot of these questions? So we actually decided this needs to be something that the industry comes together to fix. One of the things that we focus on at Tech Sha Can, which is different, which is addressing this issue, is rather than focusing on just coding and tech itself, which is what a lot of the lessons were being given about, we focused on what tech can do. So what is AI for everyone? What is tech for financial services, for example? Or what is tech for space? What do you use? And therefore, by showing the children what you can do with tech to inspire them to find careers in tech. One of the things that we found that was really disturbing, the reason we formed the charity, was that we saw that at the age of 10, it was equal about boys and girls. About 72-75% were interested in careers in tech, but by GCSE age, it was only 26% of girls and 62% of boys interested in careers in tech. And girls, only 3% of them chose tech as a top choice. And right now, City of London just released a study last week about how there were 119,000 roles, 12,000 roles that were left unfilled in digital, financial, and professional services. And that costs probably close to £1 billion of productivity. There's 119,000 roles that will probably be displaced with the onset of automation, AI, which are primarily filled by women as well. So we know that we need to educate young people about the breadth of careers that you can have in tech, key role models, all of that, so that hopefully more of them find their way into it early on.
Yeah, so starting at that early age is crucial then.
Absolutely.
Great. So AI, you spoke to this a little bit, but AI, it's essentially now a baseline tool. It's not just a specialist skill. What do you think that children and even teenagers need to understand about working alongside AI, even if they're not going to become engineers?
So I think there is this myth that to do AI you need a machine learning PhD or something to be a physicist and all these kinds of things. And yes, there are definitely roles for those people. Yes, and we need them and they're really important. But actually it's embedded into everything. It's a technology, it's a tool that everyone needs to use. So therefore it's incredibly important to educate them not just about the tech itself, how it's used, how it appears in everyday life, but also how to use it safely. I think that's really important. Today is actually Safer Internet Day, so we're doing a lot of live assemblies right now at this moment, actually, across all key stages to teach young people about cybersecurity, about how to be safe. And actually, it's one of our most popular lessons. A lot of people are also scared about, all the different things, how you can lose your personal identifiable information, etc., all of that. So one thing that a lot of governments around the world, or has been a lot in the news, is about banning tech at young ages. So I think there is an element of, yes, banning, but why are we banning them? Is because we have no control. So how do we teach young people, and not just young people, but adults and everyone, how to use the tools in a safe way, so to speak, so that you're not just letting all your information out there, exposing yourself to a lot of unnecessary risk, so to speak. But in order to do that, you need to have proactive discussion. You can't just kind of just shut the door and say that you'll never go, see an iPad or something in your life. That's not going to solve the problem. You need to actually understand where is the iPad useful, where is it not, what can you use it, how do you safely control the content on it. All of those things are really incredibly important. As an example, sorry.
Yeah, that's really good. And that kind of brings up something that I'm curious about. So there's a balance, as you just spoke to. And with AI, when it comes to AI specifically, where do you think that balance lies within the school? Should we bring AI into the school, or do you think it's best for kids maybe to not have exposure to AI and learn in more traditional methods? Where's the balance there?
I don't think you can stop it. I think AI is being used in everything. If you go on a website and you try to book a trip somewhere, there's already an algorithm telling you, where you should go, what hotels you will like, all of that. I mean, even when you do a Google search or when you ask a question, there's AI. So to say that, to not use AI, I think is impossible, is getting impossible. There's so much. What's really important is probably understanding it. Understanding what aspects there are. I know there's been a lot of viral videos. I watch too much TikTok. I spend way too much time on social media. But there's a lot of viral videos about professors screaming at their students for using AI to write their papers and all of that. But actually, I think what's really interesting is how the technology isn't sophisticated enough so that you can still tell whether something's being written by a sycophantic chatbot versus original thought, so to speak. The lines probably becoming more blurred, so I think it's probably worth understanding where you can and cannot, or should and shouldn't use it, how you can create original thought and not just kind of regurgitate things. But there are some fantastic AI tools out there for students at the moment. I wish they existed. Right now, you can bring a little thing, record a lecture, stick it in your computer, and it will generate PowerPoint presentations with flashcards and quizzes and all kinds of things to test your knowledge, to actually help you learn faster and better. And I think there's this misnomer that AI just feeds you everything, but actually you learn an incredible amount by using it. If anyone has ever tried using any of the things out there, Claude, whether it's ChatGPT or it's Gemini, whatever it is, if you try to use it to say, for example, I have a baby, create a little storybook, for example. It can do it in text incredibly well, but my God, were the prompts frustrating to try to get them to actually have a bit of consistency I was like, why did his outfit change in every page? Or how come it's drawn in this style versus another style? There is still ways to go. So it's understanding where AI is good to be used. For example, it can be incredibly powerful to help you research, for example, but nothing beats doing your own research or going out into the market, testing things, theories on your own, talking to people, doing all these kinds of things. So it's teaching them about AI, but also the skills that they need. So being curious, integrity, original thought, creative thinking, all those things are still so incredibly important.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a balance there between knowing how to go to and use a library, for example.
Exactly.
We don't want to lose that skill.
Yes.
Yes, very good. Okay, so kind of turning to the human side of things. As automation and AI handle more technical tasks, which human skills do you think will become more valuable in the workplace?
So I used to run workforce for technical capability for a large bank, one of the large banks, for a long time. And one of the things that we did, which was incredible, and actually I think is still one of the largest programs of that's been done, where we reskilled almost 500 individuals from all walks of life into becoming engineers.
Very cool.
And so these are stay-at-home moms, these are physical trainers, these are you know, all kinds of people who are in branches, people who are in risk, you know, doing all kinds of other jobs and becoming engineers. And over that period of time, we learned a lot of things. And one of the things we learned is that that agility, learning agility is so incredibly important. So it's not something everyone has. So one thing I will say is that reskilling is not for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that we definitely learned. And so we learned how to test for it, how to find like who has a lot of learning ability and agility, meaning that they can demonstrate that they can go and do different types of tasks.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredibly important because, as we talked about earlier, the jobs are changing completely. So those who can think laterally, think differently, and do different things are incredibly important. Gone are the days where you do one job and you do that same job for the rest of your life until retirement.
Yeah.
I think in the City of London's report last week, they said the average life of a skill is only 2.5 years now.
Wow.
It used to be 10 years, then it became 5 years, now it's 2.5 years. So that's how often you need to be constantly curious and constantly learning. And I would say that that applies to the whole workforce if you want to continue to stay relevant.
Yeah, oh, that's such a good point. So kind of on that same topic, what are employers increasingly looking for in early career talent that extend beyond, you know, official degrees or, you know, traditional qualifications?
So I used to also sponsor for our tech workforce the early careers programs as well, so I'm very familiar with this. We wouldn't have that many spaces, but we'd get easily over 20,000 applications a year.
Wow. Yes.
And there were definitely people, I'm not going to name names, who were a bit, annoyed that my Cambridge educated son couldn't get into, our early careers program and so on or so forth. And I think those days are kind of gone. It's because we're looking for different things now. So one of the things we're looking for in terms of early talent, or as a large organization that we used to look for, is back to what I was saying, learning agility, curiosity. But also, the barriers to do something different are so low now. Anyone can learn how to code. Anyone can learn how to build something. Actually, with the AI tools available out there, I was just talking to a good friend of mine who's, maybe have coded 15 years ago, hasn't done anything since. He's just gone and in a few weeks have created a whole app around investments,
Yeah.
just like that.
Wow.
And the barriers are so what we're looking for, people are doing interesting things. So you're not just necessarily doing all your studies. I know this sounds horrible to the people who have already dedicated their life to academia or education, but yes, to have the good grades, do your lessons, study well. But in the past, we'd look for extracurricular activities, but also we're looking for people who are doing more interesting things. Are they volunteering? Are they helping their community? Have they built their own business or an app on the side? Or have they, what are the things that they've done?
Yeah.
There was a young girl I was talking to. I remember one of the grads, I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying this, one of the grads that I spoke to used to be a musician. She was a singer, songwriter, almost pop star before becoming one of our engineering grads.
Wow.
And so it's people who are just exploring their interests in very different ways.
Yeah.
I think people have this feeling like your entire life has to be about maths if you want to go into financial services or engineering or tech. And that's really not the case. It's quite creative, the type of people we're looking for as well. People who think differently. They bring in a lot more innovation and they bring a lot of fresh thinking into old problems.
Very interesting. Yeah, so that learning agility perhaps is more powerful than the fancy school.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Very good. All right, so to close us out, if you could give one piece of practical advice to parents, educators, or even employers about preparing the next generation of the AI-driven workforce, what would it be?
So it's different, right? I would say. So from an enterprise level, I would say if you're a company for next generation, I would say if you want to hire more people, different people, you can't keep doing the same thing. You have to do something different. Also, it's not always the most productive to just make large swathes of your population redundant. You can actually take a lot of these people who meet certain criteria, for example, and markers, and reskill them, retain that knowledge, retain their productivity, and actually point them towards a new skill. So investing back into your own people, and also drive more loyalty, etc. All of that. So that's extremely powerful. So that's for enterprise level, I would say. From students and kids, I would say get onto those Tech Sha Can lessons.
Very good.
There's loads of assemblies today. Please go on the website. The resources, it's a charity. The resources are free, completely free. So, and we work really hard on making that because we don't want the barrier. We want the barriers to be very low in terms of being able to gain that knowledge. And we have virtual as well as physical in person. We've reached over 1 million children last year.
Wow.
So, and we're hoping to reach many more, in fact, this year. So I would say just go on the lesson plans, educate yourself, find out about it. We cover from the ages of 5 all the way up to GCSE age. And actually, even as adults, I learn something every time I watch a lesson as well. So by all means, I would encourage everyone to take a look and to see more about like the wide breadth of careers there are in technology.
Very powerful. Well, thank you so much, Wincie. This has been so informative and really appreciate what you're doing and the work you're doing out there to educate and inform our youth.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us.